Hello everyone, welcome to Kaviskorner. Today we're going to make a classic bread pudding. This is a version my mother taught me and it is her birthday coming up. This recipe was concocted by her when we were in India. And this is the bread. I'm using an oats bread. You can use the regular normal white bread, but just to make it a little more healthy, this is oats and nut bread. And it does have some grains in between, and if it bothers you, just go ahead and do the plain white bread. But this is going to be delicious. And we're going to use custard powder, milk. We are lactose intolerant, so we're going with lactose free milk, but you can use regular milk. And I'm using condensed milk for extra richness, and some biscuits. This I'm going to crush under a running pin or rolling pin, and so I have few crushed already. This is going to be our topping. There's no nuts or anything involved. We have enough little grains in the bread itself. So let's go ahead and start boiling our milk first. So let's go ahead and add a whole carton of milk. I'm making for a crowd today, so I will need it. So while our milk is boiling, let's go ahead and make a slurry out of the custard powder. I took about 4 tablespoons of custard powder. I'm going to use about half a cup. I just held some back so I can make the slurry. And you have to use cold milk or cold water. So let's mix it up and make a slurry. And we're going to pour it into the boiling milk. So I have my tray where I'm going to serve, and please get a deep one because you're going to pour custard over. And I have 12 slices of bread to go. I'm going to trim the edges with a bread knife because it'll be a neat cut. And of course, don't squish the bread. You want a nice fluffy bread. This is almost like a ras malai, you guys, only with a custard. This is such an easy recipe that you will wonder why you hadn't tried this before. Okay, I've cut out the crust. Please don't waste the crust. I do have a recipe how to make breadcrumbs out of it in your oven. So please don't discard and throw. So I've cut the bread into pieces. Since it's a wide piece of bread, we're gonna cut it into smaller squares. I'm gonna layer 2 at a time. And I'm leaving some room in between. I'm not stacking them tight because we want, ooh, can you hear the plane? Okay, so I want the custard to move freely between the pieces and it's easy to pick up without damaging while you're serving. So let's go ahead and stack them up. This is such a easy peasy recipe, you guys. Please do try. And this brings me tons of childhood memories when my mom would make for all the kiddie parties and our regular gatherings. And one of our uncles, who was a police officer, would love this. Anytime my mom would make, he would be there for sure. Or it was the other way around. Whenever he came, my mom would make this. But this definitely needs to chill a bit. So please make it ahead of time. You can make it the day before also. Okay, let's now go make our custard. So our milk has come to a nice boil. Let's go ahead and add our slurry and always give it a good stir because it tends to settle at the bottom. And we're going to stir in as we pour. It's always good to lower the flame a little bit so you don't want the custard powder to lump it up. Okay, and have a slotted spoon or a wire whisk. That helps a lot. I'm going to lower the heat and dump the entire custard into the milk and give it a good stir. See how fast it thickens? I'm going to add about 3/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract just to give an additional flavor. This is already a vanilla flavored custard powder and it looks watery now, but once it cools down it's going to thicken a bit. And don't worry if there's any lumps. This is a very forgiving recipe because we're going to blend it through. So we have a smooth custard in the end, because once it cools down it does solidify a little bit, just to give it a nice runny texture to flow between our bread pieces. Once it cools, we're going to let it blend a little bit. Okay, so now is when we add our condensed milk. You can add regular sugar. I would rather substitute it with about a quarter to half a cup of sugar, but this condensed milk add extra flavor and really makes it a rich dessert. Stir and cook for about 5 to 6 minutes and test the taste. Make sure everything is good. That is super perfect. Love it. Our custard is ready. I'm going to turn off the stove. Once this comes to room temperature, I'm going to refrigerate it, let it chill, and then we're going to pour it over the custard.